it's Julie Ford with Julz of Life. We are back with the 21-day challenge, and we're at day 13, where we're talking about consequences. So if you've gotten your challenge going, you're probably noticing you might have a little bit of pushback with some of the things that you're trying to implement. And it might be that things are getting half done. It might be that things are getting done, but they're getting done with lots of complaints, begrudging, this is hard type stuff. And it might be that you have one or more people in your house that just don't want to do it at all. They're not participating. They don't want to play. So what do you do about these three situations, or maybe another situation that you have in your house for pushback? And if you have other situations, I want to hear about them. So put them in the comments, and we'll talk about them. So what about the person doing stuff kind of half? They get it. They take their clothes and put them away, but they don't bring the laundry basket back where it's supposed to be, and that's something that you've asked for. Or they empty the dishwasher, but they leave it wide open and all the cupboards and drawers are open. Or, they put away clothes, but the drawers are left open. Or they empty the dryer, but the dryer's left open. So you could have, the follow-up type, it's almost like a mini clinic, where you just say, all right, well, that's great. It's almost done, but I'll give you one warning, and then next time I find that the laundry basket's still in your room, you're going to have to bring it back to the laundry room for 15 times before, you can do anything else. Because we're going to learn how to do this properly and all the way through. We're going to learn the follow through with it. I heard about a mom who did that just with door slamming. So she taught her a little mini clinic on how to shut that door gently 100 times. And if she started slamming it again in frustration, she had to start over. So, that's a lot. That would take a long time. So, but you get the idea. Have some practice sessions that might seem a little goofy, but that gets that done. So rather than half done, it puts the point home that we're going to do it all the way. A job worth doing is worth doing well. What about the begrudging participants, where they're just, I don't want to do this. This is hard. Well, you can try a little bit of perspective. You can turn back time just a little bit and say, not to go all uphill both ways on everybody, but there was a time when there weren't vacuums. There was a time when there weren't dishwashers and clothes washers and lots of the cool things that we have these days. So let's try doing our contributions from that place, and let's see how really hard it is to push the vacuum around. Instead, well, let's do it with a broom. Let's take some rugs outside and beat them like they used to instead, and see how that works and how much longer that might take. So you might get a little more willing participation after a few rounds of that, of going on back to Little House on the Prairie. So give that a little bit of perspective. Also, there might be, extra things around the house that you just don't need. So you just pick those up and you can put those in a bag. We don't need those. They didn't have those on the prairie either. So we could go back in time, a little perspective. Great. If it's too much trouble to put away your things, we don't need to have them. So you can put them away in a black garbage bag and set them aside for a little while. Okay, so what about the people who don't want to do anything at all? The ones that really don't want to contribute. They need a really strong dose of perspective in what is a privilege and what is a right, because those lines have gotten really blurred in many places. So what is a right? Is it their right to own a phone? Is it their right to be on electronics all day? Is it their right to watch TV? Is it their right to have toys, all over? Is it right to have so many toys that they can't even walk through a room? Is it their right to have treats all the time? Is it their right to be fed, to be honest? A lot of kids don't have that, and it is a privilege. It is a privilege. What about having a bed? If they're not making their bed, for heaven's sakes, they don't need a bed. You can take that right out of their room. They can sleep on the floor. And after a while, they'll learn maybe to appreciate that bed. So a little bit of perspective. One mom decided that since the one child would not participate in any dish doing, that there were very specific dishes that were that child's and that child's only. And if those were clean, they got to use them. If they weren't, they had no dishes. They weren't allowed to use the other ones. It was a privilege. These are yours. If you don't clean them, you don't get to use them. So think about what's going on in your house. Think about what kind of perspective shifts need to happen so everybody's contributing and contributing gratefully, because that's the end game here, that everybody contributes with a little bit more gratitude for the ability to help, the ability to be a part of this community and have the things that are privileges. So until tomorrow, Namaste, the mom in me sees and honors the mom or dad in you.